Financial anxiety doesn't disappear when money increases, and that idea alone feels wrong to most people. From the outside, money looks like safety. Numbers go up, problems should go down. But the human brain doesn't work that way. Your brain does not measure comfort. It measures threat, and money is never registered as permanent. Even when income becomes stable, the brain keeps asking the same question. What if this ends? That question is automatic. It's not pessimism, it's survival programming. The brain evolved in environments where resources were unstable. Food could disappear, shelter could be lost, security was temporary. So when modern money appears, the brain treats it like food in the wild. Useful now, uncertain later. This is why financial anxiety often appears even after improvement, because now there is something to lose. When you have little, the fear is scarcity. When you have more, the fear becomes loss. And psychologically, loss feels stronger than gain. Your nervous system reacts more intensely to losing $10 than to gaining 100. So as money grows, vigilance grows with it. This is why financial anxiety often increases with success. Not because money causes stress, but because success creates responsibility. The brain assumes, if this can be built, it must be protected. And protection requires attention. Attention creates tension. Tension becomes anxiety. This is the first illusion of financial calm, believing that security comes from accumulation. But accumulation only changes the type of fear. It never removes it. And once the brain realizes that, financial anxiety becomes a permanent background signal. Quiet, constant, and exhausting. Financial anxiety also survives because money is abstract. You don't physically see it protecting you. You only see numbers on a screen. And the brain struggles to feel safe with abstractions. Savings accounts represent preparation, not certainty. Investments represent potential, not stability. Income represents continuation, not permanence. So the brain fills the uncertainty with imagined futures, unexpected expenses, market changes, health problems, economic crashes. Even if none of these happen, the brain prepares for them anyway. Preparation feels responsible, but psychologically it feels like anxiety. Another layer comes from control. Money creates the illusion of control. You believe you can manage outcomes. But the moment something reminds you that control is limited, the anxiety spikes. A single unexpected bill can trigger more stress than months of financial progress can erase, because the brain remembers vulnerability more than comfort. This is why people who should be calm financially often feel ashamed of their anxiety. They think something is wrong with them, but nothing is wrong. The brain simply hasn't updated its definition of safety. Safety for the nervous system is predictability, and money can't guarantee predictability. It can only delay consequences, so the anxiety stays. It doesn't scream, it whispers. And because it whispers, people assume it will disappear one day. It doesn't. It just waits for uncertainty to remind you it exists. Another reason financial anxiety never leaves is comparison. When survival is the goal, comparison is irrelevant. But when comfort appears, comparison becomes automatic. The brain stops asking, "Am I safe?" and starts asking, "Am I behind?" Money turns into a measurement of position. And position has no finish line. No matter how much you earn, there is always someone earning more, saving more, investing better. This creates a silent competition the brain never escapes. And because this competition is social, it feels personal. The brain interprets financial position as a reflection of intelligence, discipline, and worth. So now, money is no longer a tool. It becomes identity. And when identity is threatened, anxiety becomes chronic. This is where financial anxiety becomes psychological, not financial. You're no longer afraid of losing money. You're afraid of losing status, meaning, and self-image. And the brain treats those losses as existential. This is why reassurance doesn't work. No amount of logic calms emotional threat. Because the anxiety is not about numbers. It's about who you believe you are. And until that connection is broken, financial anxiety will always find a reason to exist. Financial anxiety also survives because the brain confuses money with safety. Money feels like protection, but protection is not the same as safety. Protection means effort. Safety means rest. And the nervous system only relaxes when it believes rest is allowed. The problem is that money never signals rest to the brain. It signals maintenance. Bills must be paid. Income must continue. Savings must be protected. Decisions must be made. So even in abundance, the brain stays active. This is why people often say they will relax once things are stable. But stability never arrives in the form the brain expects. There is always a next level, a new responsibility, a higher standard. So the finish line keeps moving. Another reason anxiety persists is because financial success increases mental load. More choices, more options, more consequences. Paradoxically, having more money often increases cognitive stress. Every decision feels heavier because the potential loss is larger. The brain interprets this as danger, and danger activates anxiety. This is why minimal improvements in income can feel more relieving than major financial jumps. Small progress reduces pressure. Big progress increases responsibility. So instead of feeling free, the brain feels watched. Every purchase is evaluated, every expense questioned, every decision reviewed. This constant internal monitoring creates background stress, and background stress becomes normalized. You stop noticing it, but it never leaves. Financial anxiety also survives because of memory. The brain remembers past instability more vividly than present comfort. Even if your situation has changed, your nervous system may still be living in an old environment. A period of scarcity leaves a permanent imprint. Missed bills, unexpected losses, moments of helplessness. These experiences teach the brain one lesson: this can happen again. So when money improves, the brain doesn't celebrate. It prepares. Preparation feels logical, but emotionally, it feels like fear. This is why people who grew up with financial instability often feel anxious even when they are objectively secure. Their brain is protecting them from a past it never wants to repeat, and protection does not feel calm, it feels tense. Another layer comes from responsibility toward others. As income increases, so does the feeling of obligation, family, dependence, expectations. Now money is no longer just about you. It represents security for other people. The brain treats this as pressure, because failure no longer feels individual. It feels collective. This amplifies anxiety. You're no longer afraid of personal discomfort. You're afraid of letting others down, and that fear keeps the nervous system alert. This is why reassurance from numbers alone never works. The anxiety isn't asking, do I have enough? It's asking, can I afford to fail? And that question has no numerical answer. Financial anxiety also survives because society rewards worry. Concern is seen as responsibility. Anxiety is confused with intelligence. People who worry about money are often praised for being realistic, careful, and mature. So the brain learns that calm is risky. If you relax, you might miss something. If you stop worrying, you might become careless. So anxiety becomes a habit disguised as discipline. The nervous system stays activated because it believes anxiety equals control. But control is an illusion. No amount of financial planning can eliminate uncertainty. And yet the brain keeps trying. This creates exhaustion. You're constantly preparing for futures that never arrive, while missing the present that is already here. And because the anxiety is functional, it's rarely questioned. People assume it's normal, and to some extent it is. Financial anxiety is not a failure of mindset. It's a byproduct of a system built on uncertainty. But living with it constantly is not inevitable. The first step is recognizing that anxiety is not information, it's a signal. And signals can be reinterpreted, not eliminated, but softened. This understanding doesn't remove financial concern, but it reduces the emotional charge attached to it. And once that charge decreases, the brain begins to loosen its grip. Financial anxiety also survives because the brain fears permanence less than change. Stability sounds comforting, but the brain is not optimized for comfort. It is optimized for adaptation. When money becomes consistent, the brain starts scanning for disruption. Not because it expects disaster, but because it knows change is inevitable. This creates a paradox. The more stable your finances become, the more alert your mind gets. Stability feels fragile, and fragility activates vigilance. This is why people often feel more anxious during good periods than bad ones. In bad periods, the threat is visible. In good periods, the threat is imagined. And imagined threats are harder to resolve. You can't fix what hasn't happened. So the brain stays in a loop of anticipation. Anticipation feels productive, but emotionally, it feels draining. Another hidden factor is time. Money ties your mind to the future. Planning, forecasting, projecting. The more money matters, the more your attention leaves the present. And when attention leaves the present, anxiety fills the gap. Because the present is the only place where safety can be felt. The future only offers possibilities, not reassurance. So the brain keeps running forward, looking for certainty that does not exist. And financial anxiety lives comfortably in that space. Financial anxiety also survives because people try to eliminate it. The brain resists elimination. It responds better to understanding. When you try to silence anxiety, the nervous system interprets it as danger. Why are we ignoring this signal? The brain asks. So it amplifies it. This is why telling yourself to relax rarely works. The brain doesn't relax on command. It relaxes when it feels understood. Financial anxiety begins to soften when you stop treating it as a problem and start treating it as information. Not accurate information, but emotional data. The anxiety is not predicting disaster. It's expressing uncertainty and tolerance. Once this is recognized, the relationship changes. You stop asking, how do I get rid of this feeling? And start asking, what is this feeling trying to protect? That shift matters, because protection is not the same as truth. The brain may be protecting you from discomfort, not danger, and discomfort is survivable. People who experience less financial anxiety are not fearless. They have simply trained their nervous system to tolerate uncertainty. They don't confuse uncertainty with threat. This doesn't come from more money. It comes from psychological flexibility. And flexibility reduces anxiety more effectively than control ever could. Financial anxiety never fully disappears because uncertainty never disappears. And that's not a flaw, it's reality. The brain doesn't need certainty to function. It needs trust in adaptability. When you trust that you can respond, not predict, the nervous system relaxes. This is where real financial calm begins. Not when money is enough, but when uncertainty stops feeling like a threat. Money can support comfort. It can reduce pressure. It can create options. But it cannot teach the brain how to feel safe. That lesson is psychological, not financial. Once you separate money from identity, control, and self-worth, financial anxiety loses its grip. It may still appear, but it no longer dominates. It becomes a signal you notice, not a state you live in. And that is the difference between having money and feeling financially calm. Not the absence of fear, but the absence of being controlled by it.